All right, everyone, the hour of 6 o'clock having arrived and a quorum being present, I'd like to call this meeting of the Administration Public Works Committee to order. We're going to move the agenda around a little bit to accommodate the city manager's desire to be here for the Public Service Recognition Week. So what I would like to do is move approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 22nd, 2019.
Second.
So moved.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition. The minutes of the regular meeting of April 22nd, 2019 are approved. It was moved by Alderman Braithwaite, seconded by Alderman Rue Simmons. Now I would like to move along to the consent calendar. And item A1 is payroll April 1st, 2019 through April 14th, 2019 in the amount of $2,821,514.57. Payroll April 15th, 2019 through April 28th, 2019 in the amount of $2,671,820.80. The bills list, item A2, for May 14th, 2019 is in the amount, actually I'm going to pull this, so we'll discuss that later. Credit card activity not including Amazon purchases for the period ending March 26, 2019 in the amount of $180,292.86. Item A4 is approval of special event Vintage Garage Chicago Evanston Edition. This is for action. Item A5 is a contract award for Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department 2019 summer bus transportation in the amount not to exceed $23,525. The A6 is a contract with Playwell Technologies for 2019 Youth Engineering Lego Camp Instruction. Item A7 is purchase of Arbotech fungicide from Rainbow Tree Care Scientific Advancements. Item A9 is a change order number 2 to the 2018 CIPP Sewer Rehabilitation Contract B with Kenny Construction Company. Item A11 is an amendment to the agency agreement for the management of natural gas purchase and an amendment to the agreement for the purchase of natural gas for 16 city-owned buildings. Item A14 is...
Can we hold that one?
Sure. We will also pull item A11. Item A14, contract renewal of Acela maintenance and support agreement. Item A16 is Resolution 49R19, authorizing the city manager to execute a master poll agreement with New Singular Wireless PCS LLC. Item A17 is Resolution 50R19, authorizing the city manager to execute a master poll agreement with Chicago SMSA Limited Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless. Item A18 is Resolution 3R19, an easement agreement with 1815 Ridge Avenue LLC. And item A20 is Ordinance 53019, amending City Code to modify the no parking restrictions on Howard Street from Chicago Avenue to Ridge Avenue. This is for introduction. Alderman Fleming, you have a comment.
I'm sorry, I'm late. Can we pull A16? I have a citizen comment to read.
Sure. Okay, so I am moving I ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of the bills list, item A11 and item A16.
Move a second.
Okay, the item was moved by Alderman Rainey, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, being chair, the ayes have it. And so the consent agenda passes. Now, with the arrival of the city manager, I'd like to move back to item number 2 on our agenda, which is Public Service Recognition Week for May 5th, the 11th, 2019. Mr. Bobkowitz.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, good evening. We are here this evening as part of our celebration of Public Service Week to recognize those employees with years of service greater than 5 years. We invite all of them to come and join us this evening for various schedules and things. We're not always able to get to everyone, but for those that are here this evening, we would like to make those recognitions. So we will start with these are the folks that aren't here. Oh, I see. Okay. Very good. So let me start with those that were not able to join us this evening. With 10 years of service, and we'll catch her later, is Alderman Judy Fisk. Richard Woods from our Administrative Services Department with 30 years was not able to attend this evening. Joseph Moskal with our Fire Department, 30 years. Daniel, how do you pronounce Daniel's? Kuczynski. We did go through pronunciations this year. Our Public Works Agency Street Maintenance at 30 years. James Krantz, Public Works Street Maintenance, 30 years. David Evans, Public Works Agency Maintenance and Traffic Signals, 25 years. And Jamie Vega of our Public Works Agency Sewer Maintenance, 35 years. So just with these 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 170 years of service to the city of Evanston. So I'd like to do a round of applause for that outstanding service. Next, I'll ask the individual departments that are here with employees to be recognized. First is our Community Development Department. Johanna? If you could recognize the employee, and then I'll hand the hardware. Say something nice.
Good evening, Johanna Leonard, Community Development Director. We're here to recognize Claude Garish with 30 years of service to the city of Evanston. I recently found out that Claude helped build the dais here in the council chambers when he was originally hired. So I am just totally geeked about that. And the lights. Claude is one of the electric and mechanical inspectors for the city, and it can be found all throughout Evanston doing inspections regularly. But I just was so excited that he had service here, and we use his work on a regular basis. So thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Next, the Fire Department, Fire Chief Brian Scott.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I'd like to introduce, with over 30 years of service, Captain Tim Taylor. Captain Taylor serves in our Fire Prevention Bureau, and he's been instrumental over the years with our special teams as well as our Fire Explorer program. Also, he leads currently our public education programs through all the City of Evanston public schools. So an instrumental part of the department throughout his career. We're very much appreciative of all his efforts over the years. Thank you.
Next, Parks, Recreation, and Community Services. Lawrence Hemingway, our Director.
Good afternoon, Council. I am proud to present Ms. Lori Crockett Harris, who has been an employee in our department and with the city for over 25 years. You are currently, what building are you currently in?
I am not in any building.
You're not in the building?
Part-time, so
all right.
we operate.
So you all over? Okay. All right. Yeah. I couldn't place it because I see her all over the place. So let's give Lori 25 years a round of applause.
Next, our Public Works Agency, Dave Snowbeck.
Good evening. I'm very pleased to introduce Vicki Biner, who's our meter service coordinator. She does a tremendous amount of work for the city of Evanston. She's the one that makes sure that all the water bills go out every year. She coordinates the every 2 months they go out, and then she coordinates all the water shutoffs associated with that. She's very critical to our team, and we're glad that she's here for 25 plus years. 30 years.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Next, the library, the public library, Karen Danzig-Lyons.
Good evening, Council. I'm so happy to be here to honor Bridget Geiger, who's been with us for more than 25 years. While we try and answer all of your questions and provide all your books from our shelves, there are times when our requests need to go far out of Evanston. And so interlibrary loan is managed very capably by Bridget, and she makes sure that you get your books from wherever they come from. So thank you, Bridget.
And then I have the privilege of presenting two. First is to Ike Agobo from the Health Department. Ike? Ike? There's Ike. Ike is serving as the interim director of the Department of Health and Human Services, but is also celebrating 10 years of service with the city. So Ike, congratulations. All the things we didn't worry about before you started, and now we worry about today. So, for those of you, and I guess I can look to Alderman Rainey, prior to Ike's arrival, we did nothing with rats. It's amazing to think that the city had no enforcement, no eradication efforts, and I think almost single-handedly you brought that to pass. So for 150 odd years, we didn't do rats, but we do rats now. So I know you worked hard, you went to school, you got advanced degrees just to worry about rats. But no, Ike has been a tremendous leader in our department. We're so very fortunate to have you as part of our team. Congratulations. Do we have a what? A rat patrol? Yes, there was an email last week. Alderman, let's talk about that another time. And as you all know, members of the City Council are also employees, and I'd like to bring up Alderman Don Wilson. Don, congratulations on 10 years of service to the residents of Evanston. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for allowing us to do this. I think it's a special time that we get to bring people up. As I said, many, many years of faithful service to the community of Evanston. We could not do what we do without the hard work of our staff. So again, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. All right, we'll move along to items for consideration and then return to the consent agenda items that were pulled. Alderman Fleming, could you please do item A3?
Yes, I move for approval Amazon credit card activity ending March 26, 2019 in the amount of $5,840.41 for action.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All right, it's moved by Alderman Fleming, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And I abstain. Thank you, Alderman Fleming. Alderman Rainey, could you please take item A8?
Forget how to do this. Okay. A8. This is, we're being asked to recommend to the council to authorize the manager to execute a contract for the 2019 water main improvement and street resurfacing project with Joel Kennedy Construction Corp. in the amount of $4,223,640.50. Funding in the amount of $3,663,815.50 will be provided from the water fund, and with a budget year-to-date of $3,710,000, and $559,825 from the sewer fund. I move approval.
All right, it was moved by Alderman Rainey, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, item passes. I'll take item A10. I move approval of a contract with Bullen Andrews Concrete Restoration for a parking garage silane sealer application in the amount of $620,608 with a reimbursement from the residences of Sherman Plaza in an estimated amount of $49,460.96. Is there a second?
Second.
It was moved by Alderman Sufferton, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes. Alderman Ruth Simmons, would you please take item A12?
A12, staff recommends that the City Council authorize the city manager to renew sole source software license and service agreement with Central Square Technologies for the Police Department's CAD software in the amount of $79,372.27. The agreement is effective May 1st, 2019 through April 30th, 2020. Funding will be provided by the Emergency Telephone System Service Agreement and contracts with a fiscal year 19 budget of $225,000 and a year-to-date balance of $136,050.59. This is for action.
Second.
Okay, it was moved by Alderman Ruth Simmons, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. Is there any discussion of this one? All right, then seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes as well. Alderman Braithwaite, item A13, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move for action and accept to place on file the first quarter financial report. Staff recommends the City Council accept and place the unaudited financial statements as of March 31st, 2019. Summary by fund for revenue expenditures, fund cash balances can be found on the corresponding transmittal memorandum.
Second.
All right, it was moved by Alderman Braithwaite, seconded by Alderman Ruth Simmons. I believe we have a brief presentation from Mr. Desai.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the committee. We have the first quarter as of March 31st financial report in the brief, and these are some of the highlights. So this is the overall overview of all the funds. You see the revenues and expenses, net results as of March 31st. What is the fund balance and cash balance? The most important, the first one, the general fund, estimated fund balance of $19.9 million and the cash balance of around $17 million. Some of the other funds, mainly the enterprise funds at the bottom of the things, starting with the parking fund, fund balance of $3.4 million estimated and $2.8 in cash. Water fund, $8.7 in fund balance, $5.5 million in the cash balance. And the sewer fund, around $9 million in the fund balance and $2.4 million in the cash balance. General fund, the revenue overview. So you look at the property tax, we got the first installment. Most of the money comes in the February and in the March, a little bit in April, so we have around 51%. Some of the other revenues, interest income, because of those interest rate hikes in the past, we are getting more than the budgeted income in the interest revenues. And overall, we are at 31.5% compared to a target of 25%. And this is typical because of the property tax receipts in the first few months. Revenue details, as mentioned about the property taxes, other taxes, some of the money with like transportation network tax and hotel motel tax, a little under target because they are on a quarterly basis, so that's kind of. License, permit, and fees. We got one large permit, so the building permit's already at almost halfway of the budgeted target. And charges for services, ambulance fees, we keep on tracking after the rate increase, so we'll continue to look at that, and I think we will meet those budgets for the ambulance fees and other charges. Fines, forfeitures, parking tickets at around 20%. Obviously, it would go up. It includes 2 months at the old rates with the beginning in March of the new rate, so we expect it to go up. Interest income, as I mentioned, 81% of the budget, and I think we will continue to stay that way, so above budget. Intergovernmental revenue, obviously they are throughout the year and it's uneven, so depending on when they approve and disperse the payment. General fund expense overview. You look at the overall, it's 26% compared to an actual target of 25%. And one of the main things you see in the police and fire department at 30% because of the pension fund transfers which we get, and from the accounting standpoint, we have to show it as an expense in both the funds for the fire pension and the police, and that's why they are higher. And I think we have a slide to explain about it. Okay, I would have Kate Lewis Larkin, our budget coordinator. She would go over the expense in detail.
Kate Lewis-Lakin, Budget Coordinator. So as Hitesh mentioned, this slide is just showing where the police and fire departments are with those pension transfers removed. As those transfers are made, when the property taxes come in, because we've received about half of the property tax revenue, about half of those transfers have been made as well. Taking out those transfers, the police department is at 22.7% budget, as is the fire department, so right about on target. A little bit more detail again in the police and fire department. Overtime expenses are trending a bit higher than budget. We saw this last year as well. This chart shows 2018 actuals in the first column compared to our 2019 budget. We're still hoping to end 2019 below those 2018 actuals. We're expecting some higher reimbursements from Northwestern this year for police overtime during the summer months with Dillo Day and home football games in the fall. So this is an expense category that we keep our eye on closely as the year continues. Another item that we're keeping our eye on is snow expenses. As we all experienced, there was a lot of snow in the first quarter of the year. So February and January and March brought us to about 88% of our budgeted snow expenses already, which is concerning since we do still have November and December coming up. But everyone, knock on wood and hope for very little snow that time of year. Providing that we can't just hope for that, we are looking at past year's expenses and what we could expect to see in November and December. We could expect to see about $300,000 more in those expenses. So we're, again, keeping our eye on those as the year continues, and we'll continue to monitor and seek savings in other places in the fund to be able to prepare for that. A couple other items we're tracking on a regular basis are travel and training, food, and membership dues. So we're reviewing those on a monthly basis, going over that with departments and with the city manager. We'll provide a more detailed report on these categories at the mid-year budget report, but just so you are all aware, we are tracking those closely. Some highlights from the other funds. Parking fund revenues through March 31st, you'll see in the report, are a little bit below target. This is due to the parking meter rate increase being implemented on March 1, so we're just starting to see the revenue from that increase. Water fund appears low on revenue and expenses, also due to large capital projects, so some of those projects have not been started yet or have recently been contracted, so we'll see that coming in the next few months in the second quarter. Capital Improvements Fund and the Crown Construction Fund are both spending down 2018 bond proceeds primarily still. 19 bond proceeds are expected to be received in June. And then the Insurance Fund is showing a negative funding cash balance still. There were high expenses in the first quarter with legal fees and settlements, so we continue to monitor that fund very closely. A couple upcoming finance projects, just to keep you updated about the 2018 audit will be completed by June 30th, 2019. I believe that will be presented to City Council around that time. Staff is still continuing to plan for the creation of a 2-year budget for 2020 and 2021. We typically begin this process in June, July internally, and we expect to come to City Council at the end of July, early August, with our second quarter report and sort of first steps on that budget process. Any questions? And we have department directors here as well.
I've got no lights here. Does anybody have any questions? If not, I will just say thank you both for your presentation. All right, so we'll move along to Or I guess we need, all right, so we moved in second, and we need a motion to, or we need a vote on accepting and placing on file the first quarter financial report. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Move on to item A15, the collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police Patrol, effective January 1, 2019 through December 31st, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved by Alderman Sufferton, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? The collective bargaining agreement passes. Alderman Braithwaite, item, or you know what? Alderman Fleming, why don't you take item A19?
What number are we on? A19.
A19 is ordinance 52-0-19, amending City Code 10-11-8 to modify the schedule to prohibit parking on both sides of Pittner Avenue from Washington Street south to the dead end. The Parking and Transportation Committee recommends adoption of this ordinance, adding the section of Pittner Avenue between Cleveland Street and the dead end south, to the dead end south. And I, Alderman Fleming, recommend suspension of the rules for introduction and action at tonight's City Council meeting.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. It was moved by Alderman Fleming, seconded by Alderman Rainey. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, no objection to the suspension of the rules. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Alderman Rainey, could you please take item A21?
Yes. This is ordinance 42019. We're being asked to authorize entering into a real estate contract for the sale of city-owned property, real estate at 2222 Oakton Street to Clark Street Real Estate, LLC. This is commonly known as the Recycling Center. A two-thirds majority of the City Council is required to adopt this ordinance, and it is for introduction. I move approval.
Second.
It was moved by Alderman Rainey, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Rainey.
Discussion. Well, I think I've made it pretty clear that I have not supported the immediate sale of this property. I know that it's been long vacant and that we need to generate some income from this property. And I'd like to explain some of my thinking about this ordinance. First of all, it has always been my thinking that this property, the user of this property should generate more than just real estate taxes. In this case, this is the sale of property to a developer who is going to lease it to a user that I don't have any problem with. I think it's kind of interesting. It's something we don't have, although I understand at least one health club does have a climbing wall, but this is certainly different. And I have visited one of their facilities, First Ascent facility, and it was very, very interesting. However, it generates really nothing else. They do sell some clothing, and there's probably a few dollars of sales tax, but it generates nothing else really other than real estate taxes. I don't think there's going to be a lot of traffic here, so I'm not concerned about the traffic they're generating. I think probably the car wash that we just approved across the street is going to generate a lot more traffic. I have problems with selling this building to a real estate developer. And the reason I have problems is if you look at this real estate developer, this is a very unusual purchase for this developer. And when you look at the location of the recycling center, it's located in a very interesting site. If you look west, You know, you see the animal shelter, which its future is really problematic, I think. We've talked a lot about what's going to happen to the animal shelter. And I recall when we first interviewed the developer, I think within the first 5 minutes of that interview, he questioned, what are you going to do with the animal shelter? So I see perhaps in his future, he saw the purchase of the animal shelter. And then you look further down the road a piece and you see Gordon Foods. I don't know how many times you've been in Gordon Foods. I think maybe in the future of Gordon Foods at that location might not be a forever thing. So I just think I don't want to see a strip mall or a shopping center on the perimeter of James Park. I just don't feel comfortable with that. I don't see a rock climbing facility there forever either. So I think there's some expansion plans, or at least the possibility of that happening. I don't want to see this building sold. Right now, I really don't. And I saw that if the rock climbing facility or the rock climbing tenant doesn't last, that there's a right of, that we get to get the building back. But I don't see how that can happen, because that feels to me like a taking of sorts. If Clark Street Development owns the building, I think they own the building, and I'm not sure I support that provision of the sale. It looks to me, if I add up all the figures, and these people are going to be paying $47,000 a month in rent, and that seems pretty steep to me. I know that there have been promises of, this is going to be a really inclusive operation. I see that, a birthday party for children, it's going to be $30 a kid. That includes nothing but rock climbing. I guess maybe that's what middle-class kids are paying for birthday parties this year, but that doesn't seem very inclusive. They're going to put $6 million plus into the redevelopment of the space, including the $1.1 million for the purchase. That's great, and that's going to probably add to the real estate property tax, of which we'll get 16%, and the schools will get something. I just it's going to be something we don't have. That's about all I can say about it. All this is going to bring to us is something we don't have, and that just doesn't seem like enough. And we're going to have to go shopping for space to put our stuff. And that's not the end of the world. I'm sure we can find something. But it's not going to really be an alive place. It's going to all be inside. And I don't see people getting off that rock climbing thing, going over to Peckish Pig or to Found or any of those places, because they're pretty spent after that. They might be going over on McCormick to one of those places maybe, but I think mostly they'll be in their cars calling up Grubhub and having something sent to their house. So I just feel really sad, and this building is going to be sold to something that's so much within that space that's not so exciting and so out there and so alive. It's going to be inside, and just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be sold. And when it was going to be sold to Smiley Brothers, there was going to have all this excitement and going on outside. There was so much opposition. And Smiley Brothers was going to do so much for everybody. Sadly, there's so much opposition. They lost their investors, blah, blah, blah. Where are the garden people? Because there's just not going to be anything happening. There's not going to be a lot of cars there, I don't believe. They say they're going to have 2,000 members. I can't wait for that. Maybe there is. But I just think that we're making a big mistake. And I can't wait to see the results of their 2,000 members and all of the weekly activities for all the children who need all the support that they claim they're going to give. And but all we're going to get out of this is real estate taxes. That's what we're going to get. I've had my say. I'm voting no.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
The motion passes a vote of 3-1. 4-1. All right, excellent. So now we're going to return to the consent agenda items that were pulled. The first is item A2, the bills list from May 14th, 2019, in the amount of $4,087,869.59. Is there a second? It was moved by Alderman Sufferton, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. Is there any discussion? Alderman Fleming.
Yeah, I just have I usually don't, but I'm voting no to this bills list because I have some concerns about some of the charges.
Could you repeat that?
All right. Is there?
Do you want me to repeat that? Did everybody hear me?
I don't understand what you're saying.
I have concerns about some of the charges, so I usually don't vote no to the bills list, but this one I'm voting no to.
But can you be more specific?
Happy to. Was trying to get the meeting to move along. I have some concerns about some legal charges.
All right. Is there any other discussion? All right. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No.
Oppose.
The item passes the vote of 3-2. The noes are Alderman Fleming, Alderman Sufferton. All right. Item A11 was pulled by Alderman Braithwaite, I believe. I move okay. No, you're A16, maybe. I'm sorry. Okay. A11, I move approval of item A11, which is the amendment to the agency agreement for the management of the natural gas purchase and an amendment to the agreement for the purchase of natural gas for 16 city-owned building. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Sufferton, seconded by Alderman Braithwaite. Alderman Braithwaite.
Just, yep, here he comes. There's a lot of good information in here, and just wanted Director Stonebeck to talk a little bit about it.
Just talk about the...
Yeah, just give a high level. He did a lot of work on it.
Okay, thank you. Dave Stonebeck, Public Works Director. The city's been coordinating with Northwestern University for the purchase of natural gas over the past several years. That's advantageous to the city because Northwestern University, between their campus in Evanston and in Chicago, is one of the largest natural gas purchasers in Illinois. That means that they get very good pricing, and then they have people that are constantly watching the gas market to buy it at the opportune time. Several years ago, we entered into a contract, a long-duration contract that went to 2021 to buy it at 4.04 per unit. And because gas prices continue to be low, they were able to negotiate a new deal that would start June 1st of this year at a price of only 3.56 per unit, which is a fantastic price. And then we're locking that price in through August 31st, 2023. So we have stability in our gas prices for the foreseeable future, and I think that this is a great opportunity for the city.
Thank you very much for all your hard work.
All right, is there any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes on a vote of 5-0. Alderman Fleming removed item A16, which is a resolution 49R19, authorizing the city manager to execute a master poll agreement with New Singular Wireless PCS LLC. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Sufferton, seconded by Alderman Fleming. Is there any discussion? Alderman Fleming.
Yeah, so I don't oppose this. I have a citizen from the Ninth Ward who couldn't make it tonight who had a comment, and I just want to say, in reading her statement, she's referring to 5G technology, which has been approved at the state level. These two things are not 5G technology, but she did want to make her concerns known. I'm going to kind of surmise this here. In April 2018, Governor Rauner signed into law the controversial Small Wireless Facilities Deployment Act meant to speed up implementation of 5G network. The new law looks to make it easier for phone companies to implement small cells by limiting how much local governments can regulate the installation and maintenance of the equipment. While I am all for advanced technology, I do take issue with widespread deployment of untested technology. A simple Google search will show you that I'm not alone in my concern. 5G is being rolled out without any long-term independent testing as to its effects on humans, animals, and plants. As to date, many studies have associated low-level radio frequency radiation exposure with a litany of health concerns, including DNA single and double strand breaks, disruption of cell metabolism, increased blood-brain barrier permeability, disruption of brain glucose metabolism, generation of stress proteins. As such, many communities worldwide are banning implementation of 5G in their communities until additional independent research has been completed and that 5G is proven to be safe for all living things. As you individually and collectively consider the adoption of this resolution authorizing city manager to execute a master PO agreement with New Singular PCS LLC, I implore you to divorce yourselves at this time from any financial gain and table this action until there has been adequate discussion as to the health concerns involved, and that will also be sent to the clerk for public record.
All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, the item's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right, on to items for discussion. Are there any items for discussion? All right. Communications. I'd just like to note that, Alderman Braithwaite.
Chief, I know that there was a shooting this past week, and one of the things that we were experiencing was issues with the cameras, and I saw Luke Stowe in the audience, and I just want to know if there's an update in terms of the camera ability on the corner of Church and Dodge. And that was before your time, so I was really hoping that Luke, I guess he left.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We were able to get video from the camera that we needed it from. That was at Church and Dodge. It was pretty good also.
Okay.
Now, they are going to be upgrading some of the high incident area cameras, but the camera worked just fine.
Okay. Thank you for the,
Yes, sir.
for the update.
Mhm.
All right. And I'll just note that we had one resident sign up for citizen comment who declined because he intends to speak at City Council. There being no more business before the Administration Public Works Committee, I do have a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Planning and Development will begin at the discretion of the chair.